Hey guys, I'm Rachel Cruz.
I'm George Camel.
And this is Smart Money Happy Hour. Cheers, George.
Cheers.
Ooh, wow.
That's cold. Best descriptor is just cold.
Well, this is the show where two friends who happen to be money experts talk about what you're talking about. So everything from pop culture, current events, and money.
And today we are here to help you build a bridge and get over it, respectfully. But before we lean into our inner highway engineer, Rachel, let's talk about what we're sipping on.
I know. It's a pretty great mocktail, not going to lie.
Blackberry Lime Mule mocktail.
Blackberry Lime Mule.
If you like any of those things, if you like mules, limes, or blackberries, I think you're going to love this drink.
It's actually a great mocktail. I'll say
Very
that.
balanced, fair and balanced. We're going to give this a rating and review at the end, reveal the cost per glass at the end of the episode, so stick around for that. You don't want to miss that.
That's right. Okay, George. So whenever we kind of do a tough love episode here on the Happy Hour, it's a little mixed reviews, a little toss-up on how people take it.
You know what this feels like? It feels like when your church has to do like the stewardship sermon about money.
And then they ask for
money. And it's
money after.
like they know they need to, but it's just always this weird thing. Now, This is us doing our tough love episode.
Wow.
You need to hear this. We don't enjoy this. This is not fun actually, it is very fun for us.
Oh my gosh. Unbelievable.
I love tough love. It's one of my favorite types of love.
You love it all. Love the love.
I love to love.
But so listen, we are always giving people, or I am, the benefit of the doubt, right? Life is hard. Everyone's story is different. And I want to hear that and listen to that.
Why people love you.
But then also, principles around money, they are the principles, right? And they work. And that is what we found. So that's where the tough love comes in.
Yeah.
Is we are here for you people.
Consider us your proverbial Little League soccer coaches, because today we're going to tell you to rub some dirt in it and keep on moving, especially when it comes to budgeting. That's the focus today.
That's right. And budgeting really is kind of the starting point to getting control of your money, building wealth, doing it all. So we want you to have this starting line. We want it so bad. We are your coaches that see you playing the game. And we're like, come on, you can do better. We see you. And that is budgeting. You like that, Sharon?
I'm trying to think if you would be a great coach.
Have
you ever thought about it?
Coaching?
Yeah.
Like sports?
Yeah.
No.
Your kids are still young. There's time.
I am a yeller, though. Not corrective yeller, cheering yeller. I get very into it. Whether it's swim, soccer, put me in a sports area with my kid.
I love that. There's enough corrective yelling in your family.
Yeah,
I feel like we're good on that. You know what I mean?
We don't need that. We don't need that. No, it's you can do it. Oh my gosh, go, 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 go. I get very excited.
Very high-pitched yeller. Less helpful, but I appreciate that. Okay. Well, here's the deal. Why is it tough love with budgeting? Well, we're going to cover the excuses, which takes some tough love to battle the excuses that a lot of people have about why they don't budget, why they can't keep it going, why they're not building wealth.
Yep.
So we're going to comb through those excuses today and overcome them.
Yeah, and we all have excuses in life. There's always an excuse. Where's your excuses the most, George?
Oh, my goodness. Like, where's my things where I'm like, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
At home?
Sure, let's go to the home.
Oh, that's personal.
Fun.
That's very fun. Personal. I avoid things that take mental energy. And when I'm at home, I can do things that take physical energy.
Okay.
But anything that
What's
requires...
mental? What do you mean?
Anything that requires some thought about like, how are we going to do it? When are we going to do it? I don't want to deal with more schedules and things.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I'm
I leave that
opposite.
to my wife.
Yeah.
But I'm happy to like do laundry and vacuum and chores and clean up stuff.
Okay.
Like
okay.
I think when I'm at home, the physical energy, I'm like, great, I can keep things moving. Let's go. But
So
if it
yours
takes
is
mental
that.
energy, I'm out. I procrastinate.
Okay. I'm opposite
takes
of
thought.
you. Give me a schedule all day. Give me a meal plan all day. I'd kill it. So fun.
Should we trade lives?
But I know, right? But no, folding the clothes,
That's your thing you
I would
procrastinate
literally
on?
let it just sit in the dryer and let the kids, that be the closet. And
I could never.
And they just dig through that dryer, get what they need, and move on.
You know what I do when clothes have been sitting in the dryer? I get some ice cubes.
I'm saying dry. Okay, dryer, not washer. The
Thank
washer's
you.
bad.
Don't get mildewy.
No, yeah, I know that's bad.
But even in the dryer, I'm like, that shirt's going to be so wrinkly.
Oh, I know.
So I throw some ice cubes in it. I rerun it for a little bit.
Me too. Do you know where I learned that?
Where?
Babs. Do you remember?
Yes, the TikToker.
From Babs. Yeah, she's like the grandmother everyone wished they knew. I learned that from her.
That's a great hack.
Yeah,
I don't know
so
where I
fun.
got it from.
Okay, so
That's
we
a
all
good
have
one.
it, y'all. We all have our things that we're like, I don't want to do that. And budgeting might be yours, but we are here to be your coaches. We're going to get you on up there, old junior.
I don't know what
Get in the
accent
game.
this is. We're going to be your coaches. We're going to just coach you on up, aren't we?
We're going to just get you right in that game.
What? I don't know what that is, but I love the energy you're bringing today.
I'm not sure either, George.
Wow.
Let's be honest. You know what else people make excuses about?
What's that?
When their info gets stolen on the internet, like I did.
When you made excuses like, it's not that big a deal.
Yeah, because my info, I freaking fell for a scam from USPS.
To be clear, your info didn't get stolen. You voluntarily gave it to scammers. They didn't have to go searching for it. They were like,
sorry.
hey, Rach, would you mind just dropping your debit card info and address right quick? And you're like, yeah, happy to do so. That's what happened.
Have a good day. I know. But online scammer, they're out there. So
but now if your info ends up on the internet, our friends at Delete Me can help.
That's right. And they can remove it, which is fantastic and wonderful. We love it because there are so many spammers and scammers out there today. I mean, your info is everywhere. It's
even
amazing.
Stalkers.
Golly. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got some of those. I'm sure.
I'm sure somewhere in the world. Oh, no, but really, you think about how many times you log into a website, how many times you type your address. Like, people, they have your info.
This is a good test. Go type in your phone number, your address into Google and see how many websites pop up that are just sitting there with that info.
Crazy. And if you want it removed, that's when you use Delete Me. They go through all those websites and they take off your info.
I love it. And they send you a report that shows you exactly what they did, what websites you were on, that you're now off, how much time they saved you. I like to brag, I'm at 44 hours.
Nice.
I don't know what the world record is, but I hope I get it one
Sounds
day.
right.
And the coolest part is they're giving our Smart Money Happy Hour listeners 20% off any of their plans if you go to joindeleteme.com/smartmoney. That's the link. You can also click the link in the description and we'll send you right over there. But it is an awesome, awesome service.
Yeah, it's amazing, you guys. We both have it. It's fantastic. Make sure to check it out. So great. All right, George, the excuses, are you ready for them?
Let's get to them. We've kind of compiled the top ones that we've heard over the years.
We hear them a lot, whether it's the Ramsey show, talking to people out and about, social media. We get them all.
You know what's fun? If you have one that's not on this list, leave it in the comments if you're watching on YouTube.
Maybe we'll debunk it in a future episode.
That'll be fun. But here's the top ones.
All right. I'm self-employed. I have fluctuating income or get paid multiple times a month. So I can't budget. I can't budget.
What's the truth here, Rachel?
The truth is, yes, you can budget. And again, your numbers will probably look a little different. And that's how we are. I'm on commission for my life. And so is my husband. He's doing real estate stuff. So it's every month looks different. And you don't quite know exactly until you get your paycheck. So what we do is a guesstimate. So at the beginning of the month, we put in, here's how much I think I'm going to make. And I usually do a lower amount, I'll be honest, just to kind of give us some breathing room. And then he gives his number. And then we budget from there. And then again, if the paycheck hits and it's better, that's great. We'll probably just put more in savings or roll it over to the next month. But if it's less, then we do know, okay, we got to cut some stuff. So again, you're a little bit more of the flexibility aspect of this because you're kind of guessing ahead of time. But that still doesn't mean that you don't plan. At least you're going to be making something.
Very few people are going to make $0
yeah,
in a
and
month.
even if you are, because you're a freelancer and you're like, I took no jobs this month, then you know that. So then you're going to have to pull money from savings, but you're still going to have to pay for food and all that. So go ahead and budget out and have a plan. So regardless of what's going on, you can still budget.
Yeah, for those that have that irregular income, we call it a prioritized spending plan. So I got to make sure the food is on the table, the lights stay on, the rent is paid, the mortgage is paid. Then you can kind of go down the list and say, okay, insurance needs to get paid, gas needs to get covered. Everything beyond that sort of becomes if there's more money, we'll get to this.
That's right.
If there's more money, we'll get to this. So I think a budget is even more important for those that don't have a stable fixed income.
That's right. And again, it's going to change maybe throughout the month, depending on what actually hits your account, but you still plan for it. Still very important.
Excuse debunked.
All right. Number 2, George. I don't have time to budget and it takes too much effort.
Oh
my gosh. They're
amazing.
so busy.
How'd you have time to leave that in the YouTube comment section? It's amazing how that works. I'm kidding. But no, this is one we get often. People think in their mind, it's going to take me hours because I'm going to have to open some spreadsheet and it's going to take so much brain power and math. Maybe back in the day, but nowadays you just use the EveryDollar app and it does all the math for you. It's on your smartphone. Your spouse can be logged in. You both have access to it. And it doesn't take much time once you get it off the ground.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's going to, like anything that you're starting out, there will be a level of hey, let's set aside an hour and I'm going to look through the last, month or two of our accounts just to see how much did we spend on average each month on food, on groceries, out to eat, miscellaneous stuff, maybe stuff with the kids, stuff for the house, all these different categories, insurance that you pay out. you do have to look back and kind of get an idea of what you were spending. And I always tell people, go ahead and just put those numbers down on your current budget, but knowing that those were numbers that you have without a budget. Meaning you can probably, when you have a plan, some of those categories can lower, especially things like food that you're just kind of going for, right?
Yes. It doesn't take that much time, really, once you have it going.
Yeah, and every dollar copies your budget month to month, which I love because you'll get it and then you'll delete some categories that was just for that previous
Maybe
month
add some.
that you don't need. Yes, you'll probably add things. So again, it's an ongoing fluid thing, but it does not take that long. In tracking transactions, I can do like 20 transactions, I bet you, in 4 minutes.
Dang, that's what's up.
I'm quick.
Well, and every dollar makes it easy. Like we've got the premium version, and you just literally the transactions show up, and you just drag them to the right category.
Yep,
and there's
fantastic.
even some auto tracking where it goes, "Hey, this is probably groceries. You good with that?" And you go, "Yep." Tap, done.
All right, next, my spouse handles our finances, and I can't convince them to care enough about budgeting.
Ooh, this is one that I have the most empathy for because it's frustrating and difficult to handle the money by yourself. Because the other spouse doesn't want to, doesn't know how to, isn't, quote, into it. We've heard all of the reasons. So if you have no control over your money, like there's an even bigger issue here when you're not aligned with your spouse when it comes to your goals, what's happening month to month, and you get resentful if you carry that for too long.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think at the end of the day, it comes down to what you value, and you obviously care about this issue for a reason. And if your spouse doesn't have any level of interest or concern or willingness to
or
go
visibility
or to go with you on that subject, then that's where we always kind of wave that red flag. And we're like, okay, there's probably more of a marriage issue going on than just money, right? And so I think it really is important to understand that it's more than just money. And you may be the one that loves to budget, right? And that's actually Winston in our marriage. So there's always going to be one that's more detail oriented, one that's going to love it more. But if they just are so dismissive of it and like won't budge at all with money, the truth is we're grown-ups here. We have to handle money. And if you do not feel secure or good or confident in what's going on, that's going to create fear and anxiety. And again, if your spouse can't reciprocate and like have a conversation around that and understands, and then that's a marriage thing. Like,
well, it's usually
a
symptom of something deeper. There's some like stuff they grew up with, or something that happened in their past, or there's some shame, guilt, baggage, spending addictions that they don't want to deal with. So they go, ugh, nope, not touching that. So you got to have a hard conversation and have a kind of come to Jesus conversation and really share your feelings and again, get on the same page.
They may not like pop champagne every time you do a budget. Like they may not just be thrilled, but it's the idea that, I'm going to work with you as a team in our life, and money is included in that.
Same reason we shower. We need some financial hygiene regularly, Rachel.
Okay. Thank you both. Thank you.
Shout out to those who don't shower. That's just a personal dig.
All right, next. The percentages confuse me. What if I can't save 10% every month like all budget methods tell me to do?
I think percentages is what really hurt people when it came to budgeting. They go, well, just tell me what I need to spend. And they go, well, I can't do that. And so we don't really subscribe to this percentage model of you have to split everything evenly into these categories because everyone's in different seasons.
Yep, absolutely.
If you're in debt, it looks different than if you have zero debt.
Yeah, it's more about your priorities around money. So if you have debt, your priority should be getting out of debt. So all of your focus and extra margin and all of it should be going towards that, not splitting it up and like, 50, 20, 30, you know what I mean? So it's, we're more focused on the individual when it comes to personal finance than just this like system. So that's why the zero-based budget is great because you are accounting for every dollar in your paycheck, which is very important, but it's going towards the things that you need it to go to, whether it's an emergency fund, getting out of debt, or what you need it for.
Well, and we do have two parameters that include percentages. Number one is it's wise to have no more than 25% of your take-home pay going toward your rent or mortgage. That's not a like fundamentalist, like you have to, it helps you to hit your other goals if your mortgage isn't 60% of your take-home pay. And the other one is giving. We think it's wise. We put giving at the top of the budget, 10% if you're, a person of faith, you're a believer, 10% to your local church. And so giving is an important part of the budget too.
Yeah. And always give a little until you can give a lot, right? I mean, again, we're not legalistic about these and it's like this hardcore thing, but it's just a guideline. And again, it's kind of showing you, hey, here's some things to put into place that's going to help you with your money long term, which is key. Okay.
Here's a common one, Rachel. I can't budget because I make enough that I don't need to. Have you heard that one? Well, I make too much. It's not a big deal.
Yeah. I have heard that
What's
one
funny
from
is that
someone.
I also hear people go, I don't make enough to do a budget. So I'm like, oh, so tell me where this magical sweet spot is of
Yep.
the middle class people who need to make a budget and no one else matters.
That's right.
That's crazy.
Yep. I mean, on either end of the spectrum, again, a budget is just a plan for your money. That's what it is. So,
However little or however much it is.
if you're not making a ton right now, then you need to budget so that you know, hey, my necessities are covered. You have a plan. You feel in control. And then when you make a lot, it's amazing how much you can just spend when you don't have a plan. And again, we're okay with spending, but it's just doing it on purpose. And I do think once you're on baby step 7,
so it means no mortgage payment, no debt at all.
yeah, you can. I mean, I think there's a level you can be a little bit more lax with it. Like it's fine if you want bigger categories or not. But the idea that you just don't plan for anything with your money is very unwise.
There was one other thing I want to mention with this one.
Sharks.
Lifestyle creep. So people think, well, if I just make more money, then my life problems will be solved. Or, you know what? I do well, Rachel. I'm fine. I can out-earn my stupidity and my spending habits. But lifestyle creep is real. What happens is you make more and you just spend more. So you don't actually get any closer to reaching your goals, paying off debt, investing for the future. So that's where a budget's so important. Even if you get a bonus or a raise, what are you doing with that? Because if you don't make a plan on paper, it's going to disappear into some frivolous spending.
Amen, Brother George.
That's what I'll say about that.
Amen.
Okay, what's the next excuse?
What about fun money? Whenever I get intentional with my money, there's none left for me.
Oh.
Okay, this is why we budget.
This is for the Enneagram 7s who go, wait, budgets are like for people who don't want to have fun.
Yeah, No, and you can still have fun, but you got to budget for it. Which sounds so like
Budget for fun.
But I think having, have a fun category in your budget. Your budget's yours. You can put whatever you want in it. So maybe it's like, I don't know.
So if you want some money for
Vince,
you, put that in there.
yeah.
Rachel's fun money.
That's right. Just throw it in the budget and plan for it.
And it's not penny pinching. People think, well, Rachel's going to get $4 to spend. You could put $500 in fun money if that's your
You're an
life.
adult. That you get to decide.
You get to decide what
which
makes
is
sense.
amazing.
Because people always ask us, well, how much should I put? Well, if you're in debt, you want to limit it as much as possible. But if you have no mortgage payment and you make good money and
Or
you're
even if
hitting your goals,
consumer debt free, but you have an emergency fund, you can loosen it up even more there, right? I mean, there's certain parts of this
get
money
the
plan.
mani-pedi. You do you.
You can enjoy it. You just enjoy it. I love a Rachel category.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun in our life.
Yes.
So, and we're on a budget. So
it's great.
They're not mutually exclusive.
All right, the next one is, how am I supposed to account for all the random bigger expenses that pop up, like new tires or a doctor's office copay?
Oh, I just saw a video today and someone was like, budgets suck. Budgets don't work because like you get one thing that happens in your life and it just throws off the budget. And so it just doesn't work. I'm like, what? How does this person exist?
Oh my gosh.
So what do you say to those people who go, Rachel, something's going to pop up. So why even plan when the plan's going to go out the window?
Well, number one, the miscellaneous category is wonderful for this. You're able
So explain this.
Well, so this is the catch-all category. So you need to have some, it's kind of your safety net within the budget. It's like, we're going to allot a certain amount of money towards this. And if something comes up, we have this money for
And
it.
these are like ankle biters. This is not, there was a random $4,000
Yeah, I mean, tires
expense.
are expensive though. So that's my other thing is your number one thing is to have a $1,000 emergency fund. Like that's the number one thing you do on this plan. So if it is a larger expense, you will have $1,000 just set aside that you can go and get from if you need it. But also if the ideal, because this happens to us, ideally you will adjust the budget when those things come up. So a doctor's visit comes up and you got to pay the copay and you're like, oh my gosh, there's not enough in my miscellaneous category. Then you have to then go and adjust other categories because it has to balance. Like we're adults here. Again, this is the tough love. But we are adults. It has to balance. And so you may say, okay, we're going to take a little bit out to eat. Maybe my clothing category shrinks a little bit. It's my personal, you got to figure out the math. And that's why I love Every Dollar, because as you adjust categories, it will show you how much you have left. But that may be a truth too. We're like, oh man, this month we were expecting to do X, Y, and Z, but now I can't because we had this emergency room doctor visit and it shifts the money. Yeah. But that's life too, right?
And for those bigger expenses, we love sinking funds. So this is where you put a little bit of money away each month, knowing that there's a big expense coming up in the future. So we just did this with insurance. We pay our insurance yearly in full to save some money. And so in a few days, our account's going to get dinged for $3,000 to cover the auto insurance and the umbrella policy and all these other things. And so we have a sinking fund set up in Every Dollar. You can mark it as a sinking fund. So we've been putting money away because it's not a surprise that insurance is going to come due every year.
Right.
And so it's super helpful, and it takes all the stress out of like, oh my gosh, how are we going to pay this? You plan for it ahead of time in the budget.
Yeah. And I will say again, your personality comes into play because I do get overwhelmed sometimes with like an HOA fee hits or I don't know, stuff happens and I'm like, oh my gosh. Like I probably, in true confession form, could do a better job knowing what's going on because Winston does a lot of that. He's like, oh yeah, this month is this. And I always think, if you die, am I going to really remember all of this?
That got dark real quick.
It's a lot, but it's a lot that I'm like, oh gosh, how our car insurance, like I have to like.
You would have to do some serious digging to find out all the like nooks and crannies.
Yeah, just make sure because he does. I mean, and again, it's all in the budget. I see everything going on, but like from a logistical standpoint, it's just a lot. Yeah. So, yeah, that's my true confessions.
Wow.
Sure.
Winston, please don't die.
Yeah. I know.
We need you, bud.
I started having him make a list of stuff that he does that I don't know about.
Oh, that's smart.
Because stuff just happens and Rachel doesn't know.
So he just writes things down like Rachel does not know about?
Yep. Like he was doing something the other day. It was probably like air filters or whatever. I don't know.
We found out his MERV.
We did. Okay, this is an Easter egg if you watch the past episodes. And it was a high MERV, right?
He claimed it was like a MERV 16 or something.
Yeah, he went high.
Feels aggressive.
He goes
I'm not
high.
sure
He's very serious about his clean
HVAC's
air.
working properly with that thick of a filter.
I know, but it's that stuff that I'm like, oh, geez, I wouldn't know. So anyways.
That's wonderful.
Free spirits,
That's a good one.
It's a good way to live, though.
Next excuse. I like having a credit card for emergencies, and there's no place for that in the budget. There's a reason. Credit cards and budgets don't go well together.
Yeah.
Because you're paying for something like 30 days from now and all the transactions hit at once in one giant balance. And so it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And it's unwise.
It makes it hard to keep track of actually being very specific. I mean, even Amazon kind of stresses me out because I'll get a bunch of Amazon transactions and every dollar and I have to go to Amazon and be like, hey, and I kind of just
like, was this clothing? Was it household?
Like, okay, this one. You know, I can't imagine getting a full bill and being like, oh, I mean, it's just a lot. So yeah, again, and it's a new practice, probably a new habit for some of you all, but try it. Like live on the debit card, live with every dollar premium and just see what happens because you're able to actually see in real time what's going on.
Yeah. And for those that are saying, I need it for emergencies, that's what your emergency fund is for.
Yeah.
Not a credit card company that's going to charge you 22% interest for that emergency. And for those that are concerned about fraud, this is a big one. Well, Rachel, online, I'm going to put my debit card info in. Here's the deal. If you're really worried about that, there's a site out there. We're not affiliated with them, but it's called privacy.com. And you can create virtual debit card numbers. So I'll do this with sites that I'm like, hey, I don't want them to have my real debit card info. Maybe it's a trial or something. I don't want them to ding me. And so I'll use a privacy.com debit card number that's attached to mine so that I'm safe.
Love it. So
you can just delete that card later on.
Next is I'll budget when I have more money and have made more progress in my financial goals.
That's backward, I feel like. You can't start making progress with money until you stay on the plan. Until you pay attention to your money and take control of it and change your behavior.
Yeah.
So I think the budget comes before all of that.
Last but not least, George, I don't want to be reminded of my lack of money.
Ooh.
You know what? I feel it. I understand that. That feels...
I saw a great video and this girl said, I don't look at my bank account because I don't need that negative energy in my life. And I was like, yes. That's how people feel when it comes to budgeting.
So funny. I know.
It's just going to like just bring up all the shame and guilt and baggage and bad habits up to the surface.
Here's what sucks about money is, again, we feel like it's a scorecard and it's not. Your worth is far beyond your net worth. Like this is not a self-worth.
Preach. Tweet that.
Yeah, not a self-worth conversation. But it is frustrating because it is math, right? It's going to happen. So your money mistakes, they are not you. They do not define who you are. But mathematically, they will follow you, right? Like there's like, okay, I went into debt for X, Y, and Z. I have a negative balance. So now I have to figure out how to fix that. And so I could see how it can be defeating in some world. I understand that it's like, okay, put my head in the sand and I don't want to know. I'm in denial. And that can just feel, to a degree, a little bit easier than when you actually face it. But what I would encourage people is usually it's magnified in your head of how bad it is. And once you actually get it out visually and you have a plan around it, right? We don't want just to leave you like where you are. It's a plan of, okay, my first step is $1,000. Then I'm going to look at my debts. I'm going to write them down, smallest to largest. And you start to actually get control of it. That's what I love about the tactical side of this stuff. So I understand this one. I can feel this one.
Yeah, but you don't just stop at looking in the mirror and going, oh gosh, that's what I spent this month? It doesn't end there.
That's right.
But you also can't just go, what happened last month? All right, well, let's not worry about that. If you made $3,000 and you spent $4,000, there's a problem that needs to be addressed.
Yeah, it's
and
a reality.
The longer you don't address it, the harder it's going to be to climb out. So
That's
just
right.
go ahead and say, today is the best day for me to finally look in that financial mirror.
Yep.
Because tomorrow is going to be worse if I don't do something about it.
That's right. So good,
And then if
George.
you just look, you're right. After like a month, 2 months, 3 months, you go, oh my gosh, like I'm seeing some progress.
Mm-hmm.
And then you are looking forward to it. That's what I've heard happens with working out. When you're at my phase, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm never doing that again. But at your stage, you look forward to it. It's almost addictive. Like I can't think about not working out.
You feel better. I feel good. Yeah, for sure.
I can't imagine feeling good. What's it like?
I know. I heard this health thing, and I'm going to be honest, not to pat myself on the back, but I do a lot of them. And the best one I do on the it was like 5 things to do. My best one is sleep.
Oh.
I'm a great sleeper. I go to
if
bed.
you could choose one thing to be good at, it would be that.
I know. I go
What
to
a
bed
talent.
at 9. I can't stay up past 10. I fall asleep. And I sleep through. I mean, I do really well, unless one of the kids gets up or something. But overall, I'm a good sleeper. And you're not, George.
No. Hard time falling asleep, hard time staying
I
asleep.
know, George. I really am concerned for you.
Thank you.
As a friend.
I appreciate
How
that.
you feeling today? What was your sleep regimen last night?
It was better because usually what happens is like you're on the phone, like bad phone hygiene, and then you're like, oh my gosh, it's 10:45. We should stop scrolling. We should get ready for bed. And so it just becomes a cycle.
Yeah. And what time do you fall asleep? Like midnight?
I would say a little after 11,
Okay.
but then staying asleep.
And then what happens?
We also sleep with the dogs in the bed, which man, you shouldn't sleep with that. Don't care. Okay. We do it. We're not changing it. Got to deal with it. But that's another problem.
Because they wake up and stuff?
Well,
Or
they'll roll around. One of them
Yeah.
needs to get out sometimes.
Do you wake up at like 4 and can't go back to sleep?
That will happen as well.
Okay.
Yes, where your body's just,
Yes.
yeah. So the key is I need to put my phone in a different room and do all the normal phone hygiene stuff. I know what to do.
You think that's
You don't
helpful?
need to send me tips, guys, but thank you. I know that's going to happen. Like,
And it's
hey,
helpful though? Like, do you see a
100%.
difference? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also I need like that's why I'm working out, because I know I need to kind of exhaust my body to the
Yeah.
point where I need to sleep.
Yes.
So there's all kinds of things, but I think there's a lot of similarities on the money side. Like there's things we know we should do, but we're just sort of like, procrastinate,
I know.
lazy. It's not
Because it doesn't always
fun.
feel good either, right? It feels good just to kind of scroll and do that. I mean, I do
temporarily.
that at night.
And then you
Right.
feel terrible for the next 12 hours.
Yeah, that's the thing. And that's the same with money, right? It's just like it can kind of feel like a chore. I probably should do this. And then you do it. And then
You
12
always feel
hours
better.
later, you're like, wow.
Whether it's working out or a budget or cleaning the room or laundry, you're like, I feel better after it's done.
We are adulting, people. We are
Humans,
adulting.
I think, need productivity and progress. Otherwise, we spiral
Yeah, I think
into our
that's
worst
fair.
possible selves.
I think that's fair. I love that. All right, George. So good.
That was a lot.
Let me just say, you guys, we mentioned every dollar a couple times in this episode. We'll click the link. We'll put it in the show notes. But seriously, this is the budget. We are all for it. We really are.
Yep.
Even though it's kind of an eye roll sometimes, or like, oh my gosh, getting started is hard. Once you're in the habit and it becomes a part of your lifestyle and who you are, you open the EveryDollar app and track transactions. You talk to your spouse about it. It just becomes routine. It's not that big of a deal after a while, I promise you. Once
And you
it
can
becomes
do it
normal.
all on your phone. You don't need to like open up some crazy spreadsheet and take 4 hours. This is a pretty simple process. And if you have a spouse, bring them into the conversation, not like we need to budget. It needs to be, hey, I feel like we're just kind of off track and lazy lately. We need to hit some money goals. Here's a great tool we can use to track along the
Yes.
way and keep us on track. That's what I like to talk about a budget, not the like, you need to be on a budget. Like using that negative words and like
Negative energy.
yeah,
You don't need that.
That kind of making it a chore
Yes.
versus, hey, this is just like a tool to track, are we making progress?
So good. I love it.
That was fun.
Well, George, it's almost the end of the episode, and we close out every episode with
Guilty as charged.
And this is where our producer, Lindsay, gives us a new guilty as charged question every week. And if we're guilty, we take a sip. Linz.
What or which budget category are you guilty of going over last month?
Oh, shoot.
Oh my goodness.
I know ours.
Or multiple, but
Yeah, there was a few. You want to go first?
Yeah, I can go first. Ours was out to eat. Terrible.
Wow. Were
was
these
terrible.
like nice like places that you underestimated, or was it
Nope.
like, oh dang, we just went out way more than we thought we
We
would?
just ended up getting food. It was summer still, and I think we had a trip, and there was stuff we were doing. I don't know. It too many Papa John's pizzas. Where we're like, oh yeah, just
A lot of Papa John's. Was that your kryptonite this month or last month?
Papa John's. I'm not gonna lie. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that was mine for sure. It hurts.
I had an oopsie at Costco.
A what?
An oopsie.
Ooh, tell us.
I spent more than I've ever spent in a single transaction.
Would you ever?
At Costco.
Will you show me the amount? Because I know you probably want.
Yeah, I don't care. I'll tell people.
You will?
I'm
That's
not
so
ashamed.
vulnerable. I don't know. I just don't like sharing dollar amounts. It makes me nervous.
And this is a lot for us. This may not be. You're like, oh, we spend that in a day. My total at Costco after tax was $559.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, huh.
Yeah. Did you get like a month's worth of groceries though?
Well, we did. Here's what happened. We bought a new pot and pan set.
Oh. Okay, that's so dramatic.
But
for
we
it
didn't
to be
plan,
a very
but we didn't,
reasonable
like,
reason.
But it wasn't like a plan. Like, all right, this month we're going to get the pot and pan set. And It's going to be $200. So that's where it threw me off.
I hear you.
So we had to move some things around in the budget to go like, okay, was this singular $560 Costco transaction? Can we make this work? And can I tell you why we got the pot and pan? You could probably guess.
Why?
My
the
wife,
non-stick situation?
Yes, my wife watches a lot of, health videos.
Yeah,
and all the forever chemicals that are in everything.
Yeah.
And so it was like an immediate, we need to get rid of every single pot and pan we currently own or else we're going to die tomorrow. It had that energy.
Yeah, totally.
So we've moved to stainless steel.
Wow, those are tough. I had those early
I
on.
have not
in
yet
marriage,
opened the
and
box.
I went
Still
different.
scared.
I went stone.
Oh.
Yeah, Amazon.
How rustic.
Yeah, I know. Just call me.
Yeah, we do some
Annie
like
Oakley.
ceramic nonstick. We've got a few of those for like eggs and stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm still scared to like the learning curve of stainless steel.
It
can
is.
be a lot.
It's like a legit
You
thing.
have to get it piping hot, then test it with water, then add your oil.
Yep.
And then things will
But that's how
stick,
the
but
real
temporarily.
Real chefs use stainless steel because
That's what I'm
it's
going
the
for.
purest cooking and the most balanced. Like they all swear by stainless steel.
And it's what my mom used growing up, and she's the best chef I know.
Oh my gosh,
So
good for
she's going to be real happy when she comes over next week to
for
cook, and she's going to be
you.
like, wow, you guys really upgraded.
Yeah, they're tough. I got that's what I ordered for when we got married. Like when I got pots and pans when we got married, and I did all stainless steel. But it is tough. Yeah.
Tough cookies. So yeah, that's what we went over. And
Okay. Well,
I hope it was worth it. It
we're
wasn't
both
like,
guilty.
there's more impulsive purchases, but again, my life is very unexciting. That's the most
Pots
crazy
and
we
pans
get.
at Costco, really. Wow.
But hey, forever return policy.
The drama of the week.
And your boy's going to use that.
Okay, you guys, DM us any guilty as charged questions that you guys have because y'all come up with some good ones.
That's
so
right. And our
on
bank is running
Instagram
low.
or any other social media, here on YouTube even, if you're watching on YouTube, comment.
comment.
Yeah, give us some guilty as charged ideas. They're so great.
I like it.
All right, it's closing time, George. You finish.
I'm a little closer on my mocktail.
Yeah, mine not as much.
So this was a Blackberry Lime Mule Mocktail. So
Okay.
no alcohol, still delicious. It has blackberries, lime juice, ginger beer. Comes out to $2.10 per glass. And what is your rating?
I'm going to go 8 out of 10. It has ginger beer, which I'm not a fan of, but it's a good mocktail.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 9 out of 10 for mocktail. You know what I'm realizing? I just don't enjoy drinking things from a mule glass.
Me neither. It's too cold.
It's simply too cold.
I agree, George.
I think not enough people are talking about this.
I'm with you. The
It's
handle.
very cool visually. I think we can all admit that.
Yeah.
Like if I'm at a restaurant, I'm like, all right, this is a vibe. But for just the actual practicality of it, that brings it down a point.
I agree.
But kudos to Ibu for a great drink today.
Thank you.
I will always leave the recipe in the show notes. In fact, I don't, but someone much smarter and more responsible than me does, and I appreciate whoever that is.
It's so good.
We just give these away for, can I just say, we mentioned a mocktail cocktail recipe book. The comments blew up on that, Rachel, when we mentioned that. People want
we
it.
should do it.
So
amen.
leave comments on this video so
And
I
we
can
can
show our
show-
team
show
that
the
at least
people
400 people want this recipe book so we can make it.
All right. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to leave a review. It is so helpful to us. And even sharing the podcast, honestly, that's one of the best ways to spread the words.
It
we
shows
really
you care.
do. Yeah, we really do appreciate it. And make sure to check out our episode on harmless purchases that drain your bank account next.
Not so harmless then.
All right, you guys, we'll see you next Thursday on an all-new episode of
Smart Money Happy Hour.